My friend pretty much had to drag me to sign up for Tinder. I always heard it was full of trouble and scary stories. Not really a place to find a real boyfriend or girlfriend. But my friend wouldn't stop bugging me about it, so I went ahead and made an account. I told the app that I wanted to see profiles of guys who were about the same age as me, thinking that was the smart thing to do. Then I started looking through the profiles, swipe this way for yes, that way for no. I've got to say, it was kind of a good time seeing who I matched with. And man, was it easy to get sucked into trying to get more matches. I was on there all the time, even more than I was checking stuff like Instagram or Facebook. Pretty soon, I was talking to a bunch of different guys all at once. A lot of those chats didn't go anywhere, but a few of the guys seemed really cool and down to earth. Still, I was nervous about actually going out and meeting any of them. How could I be sure they were really the people they said they were in their profiles? Then came Seamus. He was a bit older than me, like by 10 years, and he was already in his late 20s, which made me think twice. But our chats were great. He had a way with words, and we both loved the same kind of music and weird podcasts nobody else seemed to know about. I felt this kind of spark talking to him, way more than with anyone else I'd met on Tinder before. When Seamus asked if I wanted to go out for real, I was super excited but also really, really cautious. I had never thought about actually going on a date with someone from Tinder. My friend, who always worries about me, made me swear I'd send her a bunch of texts during the date to make sure everything was cool, but I thought, hey, what's the harm in one date, right? We decided to meet up at this cool new place in the center of town that everyone said was awesome. I got there first and picked a booth to sit in, straightened out my dress, and tried to shake off the nerves. I was hoping he wasn't hiding some scary secret, like being a total weirdo or, a guy who does something really bad, like hurt people. But when Seamus showed up, any worry I had just melted away. He was the guy from his pictures, but even better looking and super nice when we started talking. I thought it was going to be awkward, but it wasn't at all. We were having a blast. An hour flew by, and we had finished our food. Seamus said he was going to the bathroom to wash his hands. Thinking about it, I decided that was a good idea because my hands were probably dirty from all the stuff at the table. I grabbed my bag and walked toward the back where the bathrooms were. That's when all the noise started. I spun around and saw some big guys holding Seamus back by his arms. He was trying to get away and looked really freaked out. My brain couldn't catch up with what was happening. Right then, 2 cops came in fast, put handcuffs on him, and started telling him he had rights while they took him out the door. I just stood there, my heart racing and completely blown away by what was happening. A kind police lady took me aside, away from all the noise to a quiet spot. She told me that someone else eating at the restaurant had seen Seamus do something really bad to my drink when I wasn't looking. This person had been really sharp and saw him sneakily take a little packet out of his jacket and pour it into my drink when he thought no one was watching. This person got scared, told the people who worked at the restaurant, and they didn't waste any time calling the cops. The police got there super fast and found Seamus just sitting there, pretending like he hadn't done anything wrong. But the cops could see the leftover bits from that packet in my drink. When they asked him what he was doing, Seamus said he was just making my drink sweeter for me, but that wasn't true. The cops checked what was in my drink and found a really bad drug, the kind that can knock you out so you don't know what's happening around you. I felt cold all over when I understood what was going on. This guy I had been talking to and having fun with, who I thought was okay to meet, had planned to drug me. That's so scary to think about. If that sharp-eyed person hadn't said anything, I would have come back, finished my drink, and not known anything until it was too late. I could have woken up hurt and with no idea what happened to me. It's awful to think that Seamus didn't care about me as a person at all. He just wanted to use me for bad stuff. The cops took a long time talking to me, and I gave them everything I could to help, like the messages from Tinder. They told me Seamus was already known for being bad, using apps to find girls and hurt them. He had done this a lot, drugging women's drinks when they first met so he could do terrible things while they couldn't fight back. He didn't see us as people, just things for him to use. I was so messed up thinking about how close I was to being hurt by him. If it wasn't for that brave person who spoke up, I might not have even woken up after that date. I feel shaky knowing I almost trusted someone so evil, but it also makes me want to help other girls watch out for guys like him, especially when using dating apps that don't have strict rules. After all that went down, I couldn't even look at those dating apps anymore and took a long time off from trying to meet guys through the internet. I didn't want to think that everyone was bad just because of one really bad person. This scary thing that happened made me realize I need to be super careful with dating people I meet online, to listen to that little voice inside that tells you when something's not right, and to not let my guard down when I meet someone new. But I also saw how awesome people can be when they look out for each other and step in when they see something strange going on. After my buddies kept bugging me for ages, I gave in and got Tinder to check it out. I put up a simple page with some nice pics of me and started to flip through others' profiles, mostly just for laughs. I didn't really think I'd find anyone cool, but then I was shocked when I matched with a girl named Jess, who was super pretty, like way cooler than I thought I could get. I was stunned that such an awesome-looking person seemed into me. When I looked at her profile, it looked like we liked a lot of the same stuff. I sent her a message not expecting much, and right away we hit it off. She was funny and seemed really interested in knowing the real me. For a whole week, Jess and I would message all the time, day and night. She wanted to know everything about my work, my family, what I liked to do, and even the silly things I was into. She also didn't hold back when talking about herself, like her past dates and the drama in her family. If I didn't write back for a few hours, she'd fill my inbox asking if she did something wrong or if I was getting bored of her. It was kind of sweet at first, but I started to think maybe it was a bit too much. But I was so excited to meet her after she asked to grab coffee that I didn't worry too much about it. I got to the cool cafe she chose before our date and picked a spot near the window to watch for her. I was super nervous, hoping she'd like me because she still seemed way too amazing for this to be true. When Jess showed up, she spotted me and came over with a huge smile and gave me a big hug. "Andy, I'm so happy we're finally meeting," she said with a huge smile. Her friendly vibe made me relax right away. We got our drinks and chatted, and she was really into what I was saying. I ended up talking about all sorts of things, even my big dreams. She made me feel like the funniest and most interesting guy. We were having a blast. But after about an hour, I started to pick up on some strange things about Jess. Some of the stuff she said and did was making me wonder. Jess seemed to know everyone at the cafe. She dropped names of the owner, the workers, and even people sitting around us, talking about them like they were her best friends from way back. But when I looked around, it was weird because none of them looked like they knew her, even though she talked about their lives like she was part of them. Then, out of nowhere, she'd get mad and start going off about her ex-boyfriend. She'd go on, wishing she had ruined his fancy car and cut up his nice suits. The way her eyes went kind of crazy while she talked about getting back at him with these wild payback ideas made me uncomfortable. I tried to switch the topic a few times, but she always brought it back to him and how she felt he had treated her badly. As time went on, Jess got more upset if I wasn't paying attention to her all the time. When I mentioned I might have to go soon, she got really cold all of a sudden. She wanted to know why I was in a hurry to leave, and she sounded like she was accusing me of going to meet another girl. I tried to explain I just had stuff to do, but she wasn't having any of it. She started getting loud and making a scene, and everyone in the cafe started looking at us. I didn't know what to do when she started yelling at me. It was so out of the blue, and I was stuck there not knowing how to calm her down. The cafe manager had to come over and tell Jess she had to go because she was making such a fuss. She was still yelling mean things at me as she was being walked out, and I just sat there super embarrassed and my heart racing. I realized then that Jess, who seemed so cool and fun at first, was actually pretty scary. I felt dumb for not seeing it sooner. After that nightmare date, my friends and I did some digging online. We found her social media, and it was clear she hadn't moved on from her ex at all. She was going after any girl who talked to him. It hit me that I could have been her next big problem. It made me think twice about meeting up with someone new without really knowing them first. No more solo dinners with someone I just met online. I decided I'd only do chill public hangouts for first dates from now on, places where I could get out fast if things got weird. I learned my lesson. If I spotted any warning signs, like someone being too aggressive, not telling the truth, or being too needy, I'd just leave nicely instead of waiting for it to get worse. Most people are probably okay, but after what happened with Jess, I knew I had to be careful and not drop my guard until I was sure about who they really were and what they wanted. When I heard all my pals wouldn't stop talking about their wild dates from a dating app, I got curious and decided to see what it was all about. I didn't do anything fancy, just put up a couple of photos of myself having fun doing stuff I like. I thought, why not chat with some folks for kicks, no big hopes or anything. Then I ran into this profile of a girl named Sam, and boy, did she look amazing. She looked like she could be on the cover of a magazine. Her pictures were all about her traveling the world, climbing in jungles, chilling on big boats, and taking pictures at famous spots. My jaw hit the floor when she texted me first, saying I looked cool and real, not stuck up like other guys she's talked to. Sam and I really got into our chats every single day. She wanted to know all about my job fixing cars and said it was nice to chat with someone who didn't brag all the time. And me? I couldn't get enough of hearing about her no worries kind of life. But every time I tried to talk about meeting up, she had some reason why she couldn't. She was always off on some photo job or fancy event. It was a bummer, but I got that she was super busy. After lots of messages for a month or so, Sam finally said she'd be in town and wanted to meet. We planned to have a simple brunch on Saturday, and even though I was pumped, part of me was really worried she'd find me boring. As Saturday rolled in, I got to the place super early, picking out a spot where I could see her come in. I sat there, messing with the spoons and forks, waiting. 10 o'clock, no Sam. Time kept ticking, 15, 20, 30 minutes. I kept glancing at my phone, but nothing from her. I texted her, asking if she was close. Still nothing. That's when I felt it. She had bailed on me. Seeing the waiters looking at me with those sad eyes made it worse. I couldn't stay there, so I left some money for the drink I didn't drink and walked out fast. That whole weekend, I just couldn't shake off the blues. Why would someone I'd really clicked with just blow me off without even a word? And why wasn't Sam replying to any of my texts after she didn't show up? The whole thing was weird and didn't seem like her at all. Then something even odder happened. A few days later, I was looking at stuff on Instagram and saw a face I recognized. It was the same lady from all of Sam's fancy travel pics. I felt sick when I figured out those photos of the influencer were just stolen off the web. Going back over our chats, it all clicked. Sam was a fake. There was no globe-trotting lifestyle. Someone was pretending, using that model's pictures to trick guys on the dating app. I had been duped. It didn't take me long to see how the scam worked. The trickster would reel guys in with the model's pictures, then find reasons to never meet up. After a guy was all in, emotionally, Sam would come up with a crisis, lost money, a sick family member, and ask for cash, which she'd never give back. I felt so dumb for all the stuff I'd told her and the feelings I'd put into our talks. Her trips, rich life, and liking me were all lies. It was clear I was marked as an easy target for their scam from the start. My mates got on board to help me report the phony profiles to Instagram and the dating app. But after that, Sam's pictures and her profiles were like ghosts, gone as if she never was. It was a harsh wake-up call to be careful with people you meet online. Now, I'm way more careful when I talk to my matches and always on the lookout for scam signs. I do video calls before making plans to meet to check they are who they say. And if they make up reasons why they can't meet right away, I see those as big red flags. Sure, most folks online are honest, but there are scammers too, ready to play you. I'm just glad I didn't lose any money before I caught on, and I haven't let it make me sour about all the good people and real connections you can find on the internet. This mess made me take a hard look at what I'm after too. Am I too hung up on looks and what someone's life seems like instead of what's really important? Maybe if I hadn't been so taken by Sam's phony, high-flying life, I would have spotted the scam earlier. At the end of it all, what I really want is something true, with someone who's being real, even if their life doesn't look exciting on the outside. What matters most is that real heart-to-heart connection, and you can only get that through being honest. I might get fooled again down the line by some good fake photos, but I won't let it wreck my view of people or scare me from putting myself out there. I'm sure I'll have more tales for you down the road.